how would you feel about a walrus?
A walrus that could fly like a hummingbird? That sounds terrifying.
No. Well, that would be. Well, I pictured it with little wings too, because that.
It'd be so majestic.
Yeah, that is really adorable.
The Ponder Freak podcast starts now.
What is up, Ponder Freak Nation? So glad to have you again. Welcome to the Ponder Freak podcast, a podcast that thinks too deeply into hypotheticals, real scenarios, and random questions. I am so glad you're here. I'm Stephen Kelley, and Hemi is here along with me.
Oh, I'm right here. I am right here.
And Hemi has a true story hypothetical for us today. So this should take an interesting turn. Probably for the worst, but we'll see how it plays out.
Potentially so. So usually with these hypotheticals, Stephen and I don't really know what we're going to be talking about. Like, I don't know what he's bringing up. He doesn't know what I'm bringing up. So it's a really interesting dynamic. And he may actually remember this story because I know I've told him before, but we haven't discussed it in a way like we discuss things here. So I thought it would be interesting to bring up, and we'll just see where life takes us. So basically, this was a really interesting story. It was a very impactful moment in my life. And that's why I think it's going to be interesting to talk about, because, you know, we can minimize it really if we want to make me feel like shit.
Wow.
But yeah, so basically this is basically what happened. It was me and one of my homies, Broderick. Shout out, Broderick. What's going on, bro? We were chilling. We were talking about, you know, stuff that I guess all kinds of people who are drinking talk about. We were drunk, by the way. But, you know, we were talking about religion, politics, you know what I mean? Like, everything, just literally aliens, you know what I mean? And just everything. We were just, ultimately, we kept talking about how being open-minded was extremely important, you know what I mean? Because if you're ever closed-minded, then you're not open to, like, possibilities of crazy things that may be a reality. You see what I'm saying? So you kind of limit yourself. So basically, he was telling me that he's had certain experiences that he believed to be, you know, maybe alien encounters or whatever, where he would see something and it would be crazy. And, you know, we were talking about that, and yeah, you know, we just thought it was an interesting topic. And then later, he was like,
I don't know, man, I just feel like something crazy is about to happen.
and I was like, okay. And then we both look up, and we look in the same exact direction in the stars, right? Like, it's a very clear night. Stars bright.
And he said he felt it. Just for clarity, he said he feels something crazy is about to happen. Okay.
Yeah, he said, I feel like something crazy is about to happen. Because
That's,
yet again,
that's a big point I want to hone in on.
Yeah, for sure. Because we were talking about it for so long, and I feel like an energy had started. You know what I mean? A very open, you know, just a cool, like, vibe, right? So he was like, yeah, I just feel like something crazy is about to happen. So we both look up, and when we do, there's this one star, I guess, that we both looked at the same time. Like, we weren't even like, hey, look to the left quadrant. Like, no, we both just looked up at, like, this same point in the sky, and it moved. Like, it moved, I guess you could say, like, if you were to put a ruler in the sky, it moved about, you know, a foot, I guess you could say. But then you got to think about how far away it was. So, you know, a foot to me is like a crazy distance, you know, to said star or whatever it was.
Was it slow moving?
Well, yeah, but no, because yet again, traveling that distance, it had to have moved super duper fast, I would imagine.
Sure.
Unless it was closer than I thought.
Yeah.
In which case, it might have been moving slower. So, I mean, I guess either way, it was not like a phew, like I wouldn't make that sound effect if I were to be watching it.
Have you seen a shooting star?
I think I have seen a shooting star, maybe not in person, but definitely on, like, TV or whatever.
Okay, did it move like that?
No,
Okay.
It didn't. No.
I'm just trying to give trying to give it a frame so people are like, oh, so it didn't move like a shooting star, so it looked like it moved slower than what that would be.
Yeah, it was like a steady, controlled motion, one would say.
So more freaky is what we're getting at.
I mean, I thought so just because it, it seemed to move intentionally. Like, butterflies freak me out because they fly sporadically and stuff. You know what I mean? But maybe they know where they're going. Like, maybe it's all controlled movements. But I don't know. It freaks me out. But I don't know. A steady, controlled butterfly might be way freakier to me. I don't know. I feel like that might be terrifying.
Well, hummingbirds mess with me.
Hummingbirds are super terrifying. You are correct. And they're very quick.
Because they can get like near your face and they'll just hover there and you can kind of hear the wings going. And you're like, you don't move like other things. Like, what's your plan?
Yeah, it's creepy.
And then it darts off.
It's creepy as fuck. Yeah, I don't trust hummingbirds or butterflies. Anything that flies, I don't really trust.
What?
At all. Yeah, I don't. You don't either? You don't like birds?
Birds are fine. What's wrong with birds?
Bro, you always say that they're sarcastic.
Oh, no. I don't like it when birds walk on the ground. And it's usually like a crow or like a vulture or something because they do this sarcastic hopping thing when they have wings. They're flaunting that they can walk and fly. They're insulting humanity when they do that.
That's insanity. So you're a hater. That's all it is.
Yeah, no, I hate the fact they have all these abilities, and then they kind of do this sarcastic walk thing sometimes.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, if you can admit to being a hater that you hate on birds because they have these abilities, I mean, I agree.
Oh, yeah. No, it's pure jealousy. There's nothing, or envy, I should say, to use words correctly.
Okay. You know what's funny? They irritate you. Right? And I guess it's because you see them all the time. How would you feel about a walrus?
A walrus that could fly like a hummingbird? That sounds terrifying.
No. Well, that would be. Well, I pictured it with little wings too, because that.
It'd be so majestic.
Yeah, that is really adorable. Nope, that's not what I meant. I meant that you don't like birds because they can fly and they can, walk on land. And a walrus can, kind of roll around on land. It can be up here. You know what I mean?
They lump around. You just walk away from a walrus. I'm not worried about them.
You can walk away from a bird.
Yeah.
I mean, birds don't run fast. Let me rephrase. I think emus do, but the specific birds run fast. Other birds are not going to have that. Okay, fine. Well, maybe. I don't know if they work that way. Do they work that way?
Yeah, they run really fast.
They actually run roads? I got to watch one. I'm going to have to. Why have I not seen it on like National Geographic or something?
Well, I was when I was in Arizona, when we were leaving the hotel, there was one just chilling at the front sign. And I was like, "Oh, a Roadrunner." And Joe's like, "I thought that was just a cartoon." I was like, "Nope, there it is."
That's insanity. I can't imagine actually seeing a Roadrunner.
Anyways, we have spun off.
Yeah, no, we totally have. So look, I saw the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life, right? back to the important message that I'm trying to convey here. So anyway, yes, it's a star, or it looks like a star, and it moves relatively slowly. It's a controlled motion, but yet again, depending on how far away it is, it may be moving super duper fast. Like, I don't know.
Gotcha. So it looked like a star. Did it? So you're saying it kind of had the same color of other stars around it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
You were in a suburb at this point, right? If I remember correctly.
Well, you know what? I say that, but let's also take into account that for some reason we looked at this same thing. Maybe it did look a little different. Maybe something about it did stick out, and that
did it have like a flicker or something?
No, I don't think so. Not that I remember, like, right now. I'm just saying, like, subconsciously. You know what I mean? Like, who thinks about, like, why my eyes looked over at something in particular? Like, it looked like a star for sure, but maybe it was brighter. You know what I mean? Maybe there was some quality about it that was greater than the others, and maybe that's why it stood out. Maybe that's why we looked at the same thing. You know, maybe it's not as majestic of a situation when I was like, and then our eyes both gazed in the same exact direction for some reason. Like, maybe that's the fucking reason, and maybe that's why. But it was a big ass sky with all kinds of options. So
Right, which we narrowed down. But let's make this more human. So, like, if someone stares at you, like, in the back of your head, we tend to look at that person. We turn around and like, hey, why are you fucking staring at me? Mm-hmm. So that's something we've all done. Like, we've all felt it and, like, looked around and then be like, someone was staring at me. I felt like I was being looked at. Do you think it kind of related to that?
So you mean on, like, the creepy level of, like, whatever that was looking at us? And so we decided to look back at it?
Maybe, just that it created that same kind of instincts that humans have to be like, hey, I'm being looked at.
You're right. We could have been drawn in that capacity as well, for sure.
So that's what I'm trying to, I'm trying to make this as, like, human as possible, because we've all experienced that. So if you both felt it and, like, looked up, we're like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, what triggered that?
Right. Well, I mean, obviously, like, he said, I feel like something crazy is about to happen. And I feel like he might have looked up, right? Or started to look up. Well, but I don't know. I mean, I don't think he was like, I feel like something crazy is about. Well, yeah, I can't imagine him being like, I feel like something crazy is about to happen. And then all of a sudden a force took over both of us and was like, look up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that necessarily happened. I feel like he probably, like, just started to look up. And then I also looked up into the sky. Okay. But we still looked at the same, area. But yet again, maybe I was like, oh, he's looking that way. Shit, I'll look. Who knows?
Okay, so we could play it down too.
Yeah. Let's play that shit down. You know what I mean? As well. Okay. Because I think it was fucking amazing and grandiose, and it was like a very big defining moment. But you know what? The story's not over yet. Like, that's not even done. And there's more things that we could talk about. We can still delve into it, but I do want to finish it because right now people are like, yeah, it was probably stupid. So so yet again. So the star, or whatever it is, it moves, right? The distance I said, at the speed I said. And then it just stops. And when it stops, we look at each other and we're like, yo, what the fuck? Like, that was crazy. Like, what did we just experience? And then we look back up, and when we look back up, this is crazier to me. When we look back up, all of a sudden, the whole sky starts getting super duper cloudy. And it was a, like, beyond clear night. Like, beyond clear.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't know, man.
Oh, I thought you had more. So, started to get super cloudy. Did it get brighter at all?
I don't think so.
Like, to where you could see clouds that were already there? Or was it like it was still dark, the thing moved, and then clouds started to come in? Like, how fast would you say that happened?
No, it happened like super fast. Like, literally, like less than like 5 to 10 seconds, I think. I mean, it was like super fast.
See, that's weird. Clouds can come in pretty quick, but did clouds come in from all directions?
Yeah, like literally the whole sky filled with clouds. It was a completely clear sky from all views I had all around me. And then after that happened, the whole sky filled up with clouds.
Gotcha. Yeah, maybe you saw too much and they're like, turn on the clouds.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what makes it crazy. Because obviously we're talking about possibilities, right? One of the questions is, what could it have been? Like, what was the thing that moved? What do you think that might have been? Could have been a UFO, right?
Well, I think I asked this, but I think I also went in another direction. But did the sky ever become like super bright?
No, not to my knowledge. No,
Okay.
I don't remember anything about like lighting changing or anything.
And you're 100% that like clouds didn't like sweep over it was purely like they came from all directions and like closed in, like almost in like a circle?
It was like I literally watched them form in front of my eyes. They appeared. They didn't, like, if anything, like, because clouds do form, you know what I mean? Similar to that, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But over a whole view of sky, all at the same time and right after that
yeah.
happened.
Weird timing.
I think it's weird timing, but I also know that clouds do well. We'll get into it, but clouds do form from like air pressures like changing and stuff. You know what I mean? So maybe
Sure.
it moving in the sky created that, which then created clouds.
Oh, I see where you're going.
So maybe whatever it was, I don't know.
So at this point, technically, it's a UFO.
Well, I mean, of course it's UFO because it flew. I mean, seemingly. I mean, it was in the sky. It at least floated. So it could be an unidentified floating object. So yeah, it's still a UFO. Regardless. It either flew or it floated. It didn't do anything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say it's a UFO, but yet again, I mean, it could have been anything. If we wanted to try to identify it, so that I did some pretty extensive research, and the closest thing I could find, which was almost like definitive, I was like, oh, it must have been this, was a satellite.
Yeah.
I didn't know how common it was for those things to, move about in the sky and stuff, and they do move in a straight line, and they have one point and they move and then they stop, and that's exactly what happened. So if that was the only thing that happened and I did the research I did, I probably would be like, well, no big deal.
Yeah.
But given the cloud situation, and yet again, so clouds, it says, clouds form when rising air through expansion cools to the point where some of the water vapor molecules clump together faster than they are torn apart by their thermal energy. Some of that invisible water vapor condenses to form visible cloud droplets or ice crystals. So that's how clouds are formed. So I don't know.
Nice.
I don't know if a satellite moving would create clouds.
Well, what about a satellite that seeds clouds?
A satellite that does what?
Seeds. That actually seeds clouds. It creates clouds.
Oh, yeah, maybe. But then the question is, why do we have that?
Well, they're messing with stuff in China because generally, I don't know if they have the technology yet to make clouds, but they're pretty much, I don't know how close they are I say pretty much, but supposedly in China, like there's clouds going over certain areas that have droughts and they're just not raining. So they're like, okay, what do we need to do to make them rain? Mm-hmm. And now they're forcing them to rain. Mm-hmm. So we're getting closer and closer to having control over stuff like that, which, that Geostorm movie, which looks stupid, may have a point, could become very dangerous. So maybe it was a satellite and they were like, all right, let's make a cloud. Let's test it out.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely could be the case.
But air pressure and stuff and like all that stuff, it's constantly moving and changing. And in the right circumstance, I mean, you can have like a tornado storm pop literally in 5 minutes out of nothing. So and have clouds like form pretty quickly.
Right.
So it's hard to gauge unless you were like looking at the time. So odds are if you're playing, logic, satellite moved around, which actually if you're in the suburbs, a satellite would be very hard to see.
And I was in the suburbs. I mean, I was in Duluth.
So there's too much light pollution. Yeah, there's too much light pollution to see your typical satellite. So I'm wondering what was making it so bright.
I don't know.
The clouds could be explained possibly, but I still want to go the cool route and say the kind of edgy but still possible is a satellite that controls the weather. And then if you go even more further out, you got, alien life. playing around.
Well, yeah, but we also talked about, I mean, it could have been like an entity, you know what I mean? Like, what if it was like...
Well, yeah, the alien life playing around.
No, not even,
part.
I didn't even mean that. I meant like a god, you know what I mean? Like, or God.
Oh, you're going that far.
Yeah, because why not? Like, yet again, we're talking about like being open-minded to shit. Like, it was almost like we talked about it so much, and then when he was like, I feel like something crazy is about to happen, and then we look up, and then something crazy does. It was almost like it validated everything we were saying, which is like you have to be open-minded to be able to like see this kind of shit and be able to like internalize it in a way that other people wouldn't. Like, but right after,
so you're saying you possibly connected,
maybe, and then right after that happened, then clouds formed almost to be like, all right, that's it. Like, here's the other crazy shit. That's it. Nothing else to see here. You know what I mean? Or it was almost like we were meant to see that, but no one else was. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it was, and that's why it was really interesting, and I think that's why it was so impactful. But yet again, it could have just been a chain reaction of a bunch of things, and then my interpretation.
Well, yeah, it could have just been a coincidence, which odds are it probably was based on experience. But then again, what if you and your buddy are meant to create something? You know what I mean?
Right.
And someone time traveled and caused all of those things to happen. So you'd be like, wow, I connected with something, like, and then you go on to create something.
Right, from that experience. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's literally endless possibilities. Like that would be crazy. That would be great. Like, what if somebody from the future was like, okay, I'm going to go back in the past and fucking make sure these two gentlemen fucking see this weird shit.
Yeah, it's your excellent adventure.
That's crazy. Bill and Ted. That's amazing. That's great. Yeah, it was just crazy, man. It was just really nuts. But yeah, I thought it was interesting about the satellite situation, because after reading up on it, it kind of seemed like that definitely could have been what it was. But yeah. We were in the suburbs, so I mean, you're right.
Yeah, the light would have been like, you just don't see satellites. There's some fake UFO people out in like the Southwest, and they'll take you out there and give you some night goggles, and you'll be like, you're going to see UFOs tonight, and you'll see these odd-shaped things, and you're like, oh my God. And then this one guy, what's his name that did Super Size Me? Can't remember his name. Anyway, he has a show on CNN. He went and did this stuff. And then he went to a satellite guy, and the guy's like, and that's this satellite, that's this one, here's their travel trajectory. They take you out this times, that's because that's when you're going to see satellites the best. And it's just like, man. Because you're like, oh, you're seeing cool, different shit, and it's just the millions of satellites we have going around the Earth. And we have a lot of junk, too, so you see a lot of junk. We're literally a trash heap.
Yeah. Well, now the ISS, that's the International Space Station, right?
Yeah, the ISS, yes.
Yeah, you can actually, like, you can see that, which apparently, I guess it looks kind of like a star or whatever. But, like, you can actually see that, like, out here where I live, out in California. Like, it tells me tonight. Well, Friday, November 24th, at 6:46 p.m., I'll be able to see it for 1 minute. It tells me the max height. It says exactly where it's going to be. 10 degrees above southwest, 24 degrees above southwest.
I think you need at least like some sort of minor binoculars or something.
Oh, I'm sure you need some kind of a telescope, because it gives you the exact coordinates. I mean, you're not going to just know where that is.
I gotcha.
So, yeah, I'm sure you need some kind of a device. But I do think that that's really interesting. But that also plays to your point. This was as big as a star to me.
Yeah.
So if you need a telescope or whatever in these particular kind of areas to be able to view something like that, then maybe a satellite is not what I saw. So then the question is, legitimately, like, what was it?
Yeah. Because some things that go through our atmosphere move, like you said, then become really bright and then fizzle away. But in your case, if it didn't fizzle away and there wasn't any change of brightness.
No fizzling, no change of brightness. It stayed consistent. And yet again, I don't know what happened once all the clouds formed. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Because I couldn't see anything after that. Like, the clouds literally covered the whole sky. You couldn't see past them at all after that. It was nuts. And we lost it then. And, like, we were like, oh, my God. And then, like, people were waking up that were inside the house. It was, like, mad early in the morning. It was, like, probably, like, 3 in the morning, something like that. It was crazy.
Yeah, I think this is one of those, you're just, like, physicists, astronomers, like, tell us, please. Like, we don't...
Right, yeah.
They'll be like, odds are it's this. And we're like, oh, well, that's not as fun.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, but I would like to know, you know what I mean? Like, if they're like, oh, yeah, this happened.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And if I knew for a fact that that's what it was, cool. But it would be even crazier if they were like, you know what, legitimately, I don't know. That would be crazy, because then it'd be like, wow, like, you know, what an experience.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had a meteor explode over me when I was driving.
That is dangerous.
Lit up the whole sky. And when I say over me, like, it was pretty high up, but it looked like 100 moons lit up the sky.
100 moons.
And I didn't until recently see footage in Finland of the same exact thing.
Hold on.
So I always questioned it a little bit.
I want to call you out real quick. I want to mention how recently in one of our podcasts, you said the burning of 1,000 suns, and just now you said 100 moons.
Yeah.
You are trying to be a poet, and that's your go-to.
No, it's when you're like, oh, that's pretty bright, but it's still kind of like the color of the moon.
It was the brightness of 100 moons. Get out of here.
That's how they describe the one in Finland.
What is this
too.
guy?
This is not me.
We have flashlights.
This is me biting at best, taking some of their stuff.
100 moons. All right. Anyway. No, it sounds crazy, though. So a meteor, it just exploded, and it looked like 100 moons.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So it was that same moon color.
That was in Georgia. Like, you witnessed that in Georgia?
Yeah, that was here. I mean, yeah. It was but yeah, like I said, I was pretty sure it was a meteor from everything I saw, but I didn't, like, recently I saw that footage and I was like, that matches exactly. I thought the world was ending for a brief second.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
That's crazy. That's nuts. I mean, I've seen some crazy things. That's one of the craziest. I have another crazy story too, but we'll save it for another one because that one is rough. Yeah, man. It's you know, just look up, man. Look up more often, I guess, is basically.
Yeah, that's what what's his name? Oh, come on. The astrophysicist everyone knows. Neil deGrasse Tyson. That's the dude. I think I said his name right. If I didn't, I apologize.
Yeah, I believe you did. But yeah, just look up, man. It's a crazy world up there.
Every time he interviews, usually he's like, look around. He's like, there's so much craziness going on if you just look up.
Yeah. No, seriously. It's nuts.
Well, I think that wraps up this episode. Hopefully, Hemi gets the answers he needs. If not, that's still kind of a cool, unsolved part of your life that you can always look back and be like, I wonder what that was.
Yeah. No, I think I'm always going to wonder. You know what I mean? I mean, unless somebody was like, yo, I was actually there and I had a laser pointer and a fog machine. Oh. Well, that was it.
And I got you good, didn't I?
That was a great production that you guys put on. Man, I am gullible. But yeah, man, one day, who knows?
Yeah, one day, Hemi. Well, that's it for this show. Thank you so much for listening to our show. It truly means a lot. Find us wherever you find your favorite podcast and check us out on social media. Just search Ponder Freak. We can't wait to hear from you. Till next time.